Is there any way to make budgeting on an irregular income any easier? Yes, there actually is. There are several really simple steps that you can take that will help you to easily budget when your income varies. Hi, I'm Hope from Under the Median. Every week on this channel, we talk about practical frugality and living with a spirit of joy and abundance on a budget. Now, sometimes that joy might feel like it's in a little short supply when you are frustrated because you don't know how much money is coming in every week, every month, or even every year. It can be a little bit scary and definitely frustrating to live on an irregular income. Now, Larry and I have received some inquiries, some questions from those of you who actually live on a not so regular income. And the truth is, in 33 years of marriage, we have never lived on an irregular income. So I knew that I needed to find an expert, someone that I knew could help you and give you the answers that you need and deserve, and help you to learn a little bit more about how to budget without the frustration on an irregular income. So I knew an expert and I reached out to my good friend, Charissa Quade. Charissa, thanks so much for being on the program.
Hope, it's my pleasure. And my goal to be here today is to kind of dispel the myth
Mhm.
that a regular income, you can't do the savings, you can't pay off debt, you can't live the life that you want. I want to dispel that, and I'll give you some really practical strategies on how to make that actually easy to budget on.
Before we continue, let me tell our viewers exactly how you know about an irregular income and a little bit more about you. Charissa is from changeyourfinances.com, and I'll make sure that there's a link to her website in the description of the video. So she has a mission, guys. Her mission is actually to help Christian female coaches and service-based providers learn to manage their money so that they can pass down their financial legacy to their children and their children's children. Now, the most important thing is how she came about to finding that mission. Charissa, after years of worry and stress as a self-employed service provider, that's right, you heard that right. She has walked in your shoes, guys. For decades, she has owned her own small business, which meant that her income has been irregular. And she didn't always know how to manage her money well. She learned to manage money. She eliminated her debt in 2 years, and that included her college loans. And then she didn't stop there. No, she went on and she saved cash, $80,000 in cash to pay along the way to pay for her husband's college education debt free. And she did it all while applying principles that are found about finances in the Bible. Now, I have heard Charissa talk about exactly what she's going to share with you. I've heard it multiple times, but I'm going to tell you the first time I ever heard her talk about budgeting on a regular income. It was like the light went on, guys. And all of a sudden I went, oh, I get it. It's the way that she explains it. And it's gold. It really is. All of a sudden, if you're feeling like you've got all these pieces that you need to try to pull together every month and you can't figure out how the pieces are supposed to fit, she's going to help you put the pieces together. And all of a sudden the puzzle's going to form a picture that you go, oh, I finally get it. I promise you. Now, there are 3 things that I need you to do. First of all, if you're watching and you don't have an irregular income, I really want you to stick with us, because the principles that she'll share are actually, they can be applied across the board, whether you have an irregular income or whether you don't. So the second thing I want you to do is, if you know someone who lives with an irregular income, and don't we all, right? I want you to let that friend know where they can watch this video, because that's what friends do, right? Friends help friends. And speaking of friends helping friends, this brings me to my third point. It's not really something I want you to do. It's something I want you to be aware of right now. And that is that I hit up Charissa and I asked her for a friends discount. That's right. She gave me the friends and family discount on her course on a regular income. And you're going to be able to get that at a really great discount. And I know, because I'm her friend, she doesn't offer these kind of discounts every day of the week. There will be a link in the description of this video and also a coupon code for you. You can get the irregular income course, or you can get the bundle, which comes with a lot more way cool resources. All right, so we're going to get started. Charissa, I know that I got everyone's attention with that little snippet that I shared about your story. So I want you to take it away, tell them a little bit more about how you learned to manage money, and then lay it on us, the principles that you know and you've learned about how to budget with an irregular income.
Thank you, Hope. You know, it started right next to the chocolate chips. I was in the grocery store and I'm struggling to keep back tears. The only thought I had was, I am such a failure with money. Why can't I figure this out? See, I'm a new bride. I'm a young business owner, a regular income. There you go. And I had to support my family because I was putting my husband through school. All things about money, plus adding in the regular income, the business, made me stress out. But I had this small desire in the middle of all that chaos to see my husband graduate debt-free. I had no idea how we were going to do this because our income was so tight. The debt was 20% of my income. It's irregular, and now we have to figure out how to pay for school. Okay. So I stumbled along the best I could for the next 2 years, just trying to make ends meet, trying to juggle that irregular income. And then I looked up one day and I realized if we could come up with a couple $100, we would be debt free by the end of the day. Had my husband come in, made him click the submit payment. It was his student loan. And as I watched that balance drop to zero, that day on March 17th, 2010, I didn't realize that that would be a defining moment of my entire life. Immediately, there's such peace of mind, even as I'm heading into my slow work period, because the debt was gone. Now, I still didn't like money, still didn't know how to manage it, but that piece made me dive into figuring out how to handle it better without the stress. And so I turned to the Bible, started applying biblical principles, and over the next few years, I was able to save up $79,775 to finish paying cash for the rest of my husband's education, all on a regular income. So I would love to share some tips with you so that you can reach these big goals. Maybe it's not a graduation for you like it was for us, you know, a debt-free graduation, but maybe it's something else. Either way, with a regular income, you can do it.
You know, I just love a couple of things. I love that you know the exact date, and I love that you know the exact amount. I think like those milestones are so incredibly important moving forward. Because even at this point, you're still feeling kind of frustrated, right? You're still feeling like you're trying to, you know, wrangle an octopus with 8 arms, trying to fit all these pieces where they belong, and you're not even sure where they belong. And yet you were still able to make that much forward progress, just trying to figure out what you should do next. But I love that it's incremental for you, because this, you know what? So what this tells our viewers is that this whole process isn't overnight. You don't snap your fingers and go, yeah, I got it. My debt's paid off. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's slow, steady movement toward a goal that will make a difference and will help you to reach that goal in the end.
But can I jump in?
Yeah, please.
The secrets I'm going to tell you about managing your irregular income and budgeting on it will make it a lot faster and a lot easier.
Ooh, awesome. Awesome. Because I'm all about making sure that our viewers get progress and they get it as quickly as possible. So on the basis of what you learned the long, slow, hard way, you're going to tell them how to do it the much faster and much easier way.
So when you're setting up a budget and you have an irregular income, you want to know the number one secret that I have?
Yes.
Take the last 12 months if you have that data, or as much as you have, look at, so let's take 2020, even though that was kind of a weird year, but that may not be the best year. Maybe you look back, 2019. But okay, so you go from January. How much did I bring in on January? Write it down. February, same thing, all the way through the end of the year. Now, I want you to look at, okay, is there one amount that I know I will always bring in? Okay. I told you the summer was my slow period. I followed the school system and the school semesters. So summer, December, they were always really slow for me. But I always knew I'd make a certain number of money. And so what I did was I based my budget, my regular monthly expenses needed to keep my family alive, needed to keep the bills paid, on that lowest amount of money I knew I was going to bring in.
So your bare bones budget. So the keep the lights on budget, that was what was paid for by your minimum income you knew was coming in.
Absolutely. All of the essential expenses that you need to live need to be within that amount. So let's just say, just because I love numbers and I love the money and all that, but I can't do math on air. So let's just say for purposes sake, it is $2,000. That's the minimum that you will bring in. Now, tip number 2. You ready for that?
I am.
I want you to move 4 things to the top of your budget. And this might surprise you. And tell us in the comments if you have not done this, because this is a trick that once I realized it, everything made sense. A ton of stress fell off, and it made it so much easier to deal with my irregular income. So I want you to, once you figure out the lowest amount of income that you're bringing in, I want you to move 4 things to the top of your budget. Food is first. Tell me if you have put food last. Tell me in the comments. Lights
Food
and water
definitely should be first, right? We're all about food.
Lights and water needs to be second, your utilities. Housing needs to be third, and transportation needs to be fourth. The reason why when I put these 4 things at the top of my budget, everything fell into place is because now I knew for sure that my family would survive. I didn't have to worry if I would get to week 3 and not have money for groceries, scramble to come up with money for rent. I knew their needs were taken care of. And when you have that assurity, so much stress just falls off. Okay. So now I want you, so once you put those 4 things at the top, what do you do next? Okay. What I like to call is my prioritized budget. Everything else, whether it's insurance, whether it's the cell phone, whether it's debt payments or savings goals, everything else needs to be listed down in order of priority. So that if I only have money for one more thing, which I forgot this, you always have enough money for these 4.
Right. Because that's your minimum, right? The amount you know is going to come in, that amount.
Well, no, the minimum needs to cover even more.
Right.
But you always have enough money for these 4 if you
right. Food, clothing,
so
shelter,
now,
transportation.
On your prioritize, you need to say, okay, if I only have money for one more thing, what is next? And you go down the list. Your priorities are different than mine. It's all right. But let me just give you a quick example. So clothing will be at the bottom for me. Okay. And I'll come back to that in just a second. So then with all of your regular bills, your monthly bills need to be in the minimum amount, which is the $2,000 in our example. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you have a slow month, I want you to first start with the bottom of this prioritized budget. and I want you to work up. So I said clothing was at the bottom, right? You guys, I like clothes. I like cute clothes, but I have plenty. So if I have something that comes up, if I have a slow month, I start from the bottom, which aren't as high a priority to me. I take that money and I use it towards whatever covering the shortfall. And I go up as high as I need to.
Ah, so you're
That's
foregoing your clothing fund for 1 month. So the amount you would normally have put in that clothing fund, you're just not going to save for clothing that month. And instead, you're going to put that toward the bills that are higher on the priority list.
Yep, if you have a
Makes sense.
shortfall.
Yeah.
So, but now if you have a surplus, how on earth do you handle, like, what do you do? I know you all like, oh, I finally get money. I finally can spend it. Let me give you some guidelines on how you can spend it wisely. So you're not hating yourself because you blew all the money and you still have issues, right?
Right.
So in the first example where I had you look at your income for the year, if you have the money, let's say I had 4 months that had $2,000. Okay. Now all of the $2,000 maybe covers 3/4 of the stuff I have on my budget, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I need another $1,000, let's just say. Again, easy math. So if I have 4 months that I know I'm going to get $2,000, but I really need 3. So 1,000, which is the shortfall, times 4, which is $4,000.
Right.
Tracking?
Yep.
So now what I want you to do on any of the surplus months, and this can be done 2 ways. I'll explain both of them. The surplus. Did I say that? I thought.
Yep. Surplus months. Yep.
Okay. I'm getting myself confused.
We're with you.
So on those 8 months of surplus months, what I would do is I would take that $4,000 that I needed, that was the shortfall. I would divide it up by 8, which comes out to $500 a month. So in a surplus month, I pay my regular bills, pay all of that. I pay all of it. So above that amount, I have this extra amount. Now I take $500 immediately and I put it into savings for my slow period. And then you want to say something or?
No, I'm just, it makes perfect sense. That makes good sense.
So put it aside automatically. It's separate savings. It's not an emergency account, but when you come to use it, feel free to use it because that's what the money is there for. Don't feel guilty. Above that, if I still have more money coming in, then I do a percentage system. Okay. So, if you're self-employed, obviously you need a percentage of that for taxes, right? But if you're just on a regular income, then a percentage for some of those fun things to do as a family, just so you have that spending release so you can enjoy it. A percentage for some of those big purchases that you've been holding off on, for whether it's car repairs or house repairs or whatever it is, or a big purchase like, I don't know, I'm totally drawing a blank, but put a percentage towards that. You want to put that set amount towards the slow months, and then, any other goals that you have. So whether you want to pay off debt faster, you want to save quicker for a vacation, for another car, for a house, whatever it is, that's when I love the irregular income, because those surplus months, now you have a big chunk of money that you can put towards whatever financial goal you're working on.
What I love about this. So you have a completely prioritized budget. And in addition to that budget, you have a set of goals that you're working on outside of that budget. And we have talked so often about those 2 principles on this program, that you need to make sure that you have goals and that they are written down. Because what you just told me was the extra stuff, you're going to put a percentage toward these goals, because clearly those are written, because when you write goals and track goals, you have a 70% greater chance of meeting those goals.
And what I've seen with personal experience and, all the coaching I've done, is that most people don't have a plan for that extra income. They
Yeah.
don't know how to plan for the slow months. And so if you've gone through all summer like I used to do, and it was slow, you're pinching pennies, you're trying to make everything stretch, you hit September, you get more income, now you just want to spend.
Yeah, it becomes like in your mind one big green pile of cash that
Yes.
doesn't have like a purpose. So you just spend it. That makes
And
perfect
then
sense.
you feel guilty because you know you should have put it towards this other thing and
Yeah.
that thing, and you didn't have the money that you needed for this. And then you beat yourself up, and then you try and do really good. And then the next time you get more money, same thing happens.
Mhm.
Having that plan in place. So whatever goals you're working on, one is the slow months. Two is having something fun to do, doing something that you enjoy doing as a family, because you do need that spending release. But if you're intentional about it, you won't be blowing it. And then any savings goals or paying off debt that you want, and being really intentional about putting that money personally in its own separate account until you need it, or until you're paying that payment. Because if it's just in my checking account, I don't know about you, but I see that big pile of cash and I'm like, I have money, and I spend it, and I spend more than I think. So I like to just keep it separate in its own account. Then I know exactly what that money is for.
Right. And so what I love about this is that with your system, it doesn't feel like you're constantly going through feast or famine. And to
Mm-mm.
me, that's what an irregular income would feel like. It would feel like either we're feasting or we're in famine, but there's nothing in between. And what your system does is it takes all that in between and it evens it all out. And it also makes it so that the person who is working with an irregular income doesn't feel like they are just working their tail off and never getting any money to spend on anything other than just survival. So, with your plan, there are some things you're going to fund that just allow you to go ahead and relax that much because you've determined exactly when, where, and how you're going to spend your money. And you're going to be able to spend some of that money.
And when you balance it out, like what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have all that worry. And if you do have a slow month, what do? You just dip into that account that you've been saving up for. Not having that stress and that worry, having all that pushed aside, allows you to, like, frees up your mind so much and your abilities, so that if you have that big goal of paying cash for your husband's school, like I did, and I didn't start out trying to save $79,000. I started off with one semester at a time. But when I have that goal, when I have it all balanced out, when I get a surplus and I have a plan for exactly how much to use that surplus and what directions, now I can make really incredible progress very quickly on my goals. Because, and that's the beauty of an irregular income, if you have 8 months of surplus, but you're budgeting for the 4 months of slow months, and you're intentional about it, just think how fast you can reach those goals with all those surplus months.
Yeah, and that's what makes that would for me that would be what would make an irregular income exciting rather than something that would be kind of terrifying for me.
Mm-hmm. And I honestly don't want to go back, don't want to go to a salaried position, because I think, especially if you're in business on your own,
Mhm.
you can give yourself raises. If you're sales based, if you're commission based, you can give yourself the raises,
Sure.
and you don't have to wait for a 1, 2, 3% increase once a year. If you have a big goal that, like, I need to get another car in 6 months,
Mhm.
you can bring in the income, you can work more and bring in the income to pay for it a lot faster. So I actually do, now that I know how to manage it, I really do like having an irregular income.
And for those who want to know, because I know there'll be people who will ask, How many years have you lived with an irregular income?
So my professional career, I have been on an irregular income, a small business owner for 17 and a half years.
Wow. So coming up on 20 years. That's a long time. Do you feel like you've grown into it?
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
When I was just starting off, like I mentioned in my story, I was just it was a profession I had picked and I had gone to school for. I was a sign language interpreter, and I was just trying to keep the lights on and food on the table. I didn't think of myself as a business owner. I didn't know how to handle and manage the finances with them being irregular. And as I've learned and applied these biblical financial principles, I have grown in it and I have changed my mindset to work with it. And then that just led to a desire to help other women, especially with their finances. And so yes, I would say you definitely grow into it. But you don't have to take, how long was it? It was 3, 4, 5 years, maybe 6 years, like I did, because I can give you, and we'll go into that. I think now's a good time to talk about it. But I have a regular income class that is 2.5 hours long, broken up in several different lessons. And within 2.5 hours, you can get all of this in place, and you don't have to spend the whole 6 years I did to try and figure that out. Can I show them what we have, or do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, please. So show them what we have, and then we're going to let you all know about the very generous offer that Charissa has made to give Under the Median viewers a tremendous discount on this irregular income class.
So the link is down below, changeyourfinances.com/median. And it's just for you guys. I have my regular income class and I have worksheets for you. This will teach you how to manage your regular income, pay off debt, save money on a regular income, how to plan for the slow months, how to plan for the surplus months, all of that, how to set up a budget. I go through all of that. Now, if you just get the class, let me find my mouse here, which I can't see. Give me a sec. There we go. Okay, so we have just the class and the worksheets, and that is normally $47. But when you click on this, I actually drop the discount to $37. You'll get $10 off. Or you can also get the Budgeting Made Easy, Thriving on Any Income, which tells my whole journey of my process, how I was able to save all that money. That bundle is $67, but with this code, again, the link is automatically in here. You will get it for $57. And this is just a discount for the Under the Median viewers, because Hope played that friend card and she talked me into giving you guys a exclusive discount.
Yes, I did. So if you want to take advantage of that, once again, there's going to be a link in the description of the video, and the coupon code will be in the description as well. Charissa, thanks so much for coming on and sharing what I just see as such practical, down to earth, simple, easy system to follow that will help them when they are budgeting in an irregular income situation. Thanks for coming. Everybody, give it some thumbs up, give it some love. If you have questions for Charissa, she'll be looking for the next couple of days in the comments section, and I know that she's happy to help you. You can always reach her through her website, which is changeyourfinances.com. And all the Under the Median viewers, we will see you next week on the program. Be sure to join us then.